Ruth Ann, your organization is committed to helping those who have been impacted by lead poisoning. You have helped thousands of people who have found themselves in this situation. Do you agree with what Lawrence has to say here?
Well, absolutely, and we're really committed to prevention because there is no cure except for prevention. And you can look at a child who's poisoned at the age of 2, and most typically, they will not be able to compete in the classroom by the time they get to the 3rd grade. And there are great exceptions to that, and we are delighted to that kids who can overcome the impact. But for many and for most, it is a lifetime of not being able to compete in the classroom, of dropping out of school 7 times more than their peers, of having much lower earning over time, a higher rate of cardiac arrest, and a 46% increase in early mortality. What our community and communities around this country are robbed of is potential, and that children who would be able to succeed and thrive and flourish in life, it is cut out from under them by the time they're 2 years of age. And if you look at Freddie Gray, who was poisoned in a similar time to Angel, there are 2 different paths that happen. And you have to wonder where Mr. Gray might have been on that fateful day in March 30th, 2 years ago, if he had been able to get through school, reading. If he was also impacted by asthma. And it's the housing condition that we've allowed in this country that is immoral, and one that if we correct, we know that investing in lead poisoning, for every dollar that we invest in it, we get back $17 to $221 in taxpayer dollars. Today, if we want to tackle the issue of lead poisoning in housing in Baltimore, it's going to cost us $845 million to do it. But if we don't do it, we are losing from our economy $4.3 billion a year in cost associated with the carry of the generational toxic legacy of lead. It's something we know how to fix. We know if we do fix it, what the results are in terms of the ability for pathways of trajectory and excellence and opportunity. And if we want to really level the playing field for our children, we have to start with housing condition. We have to start with the threats of environmental threat of lead, because I think Joel Carter really nailed it in terms of this is effectively a silent epidemic that this country has allowed to go on since 1922, when every other developed country in the world banned the use of lead-based paint, and we didn't. Now, Baltimore City was the first in the country to do it in 1951, and it took the United States until 1978, right? 56 years later, under the influence of lobbyists, under the influence of paint companies who are making money, under the influence that we mandated in this country in the 30s to put lead-based paint in low-income housing because it was durable, and it was used by the lowest income housing and the wealthiest housing because of its durability. But we effectively doomed generations of children and continue to do so by government practices, by market practices. And anyone in their right mind, if they knew that they were going to expose their child to brain damage, would get their child out of that environment as fast as they could. But we take away the choice and the opportunity for children before they can even crawl, before they can get to the classroom to compete. And we have to make a choice in this country to do what we know works or not.